Okay, so the next game that we worked on is called Flight of the Night, and this was for Ludum Dare 31. Took place December of 2014. I had just turned 17 a few months ago, and I decided to work with Devon again. He was super excited, and so was I. And we actually made a huge mistake for this game jam. We did a lot of prep work prior to the game jam, and we decided to plan out a lot of stuff. And we had this idea for a game that we wanted to make. And when the game jam came out, the theme was entire game on one screen, and our idea did not fit this. But we decided to go ahead and do it anyway, and it was one of the worst mistakes we ever made. So this game is also known as the one we don't talk about. So me and Devon worked on 4 jams together, and this is the one that we both regret horribly and wish never happened. But looking back on it, I still think it's funny, and I still remember learning a few things from it. So let's get into it. I'll play it and discuss why it's so bad. Alright, so already you can see that we sort of forced it into this theme. I stole some random picture of a monitor, badly stretched it over the front so that it would fit the theme. Oh, the entire game's on one screen. Haha, get it? Because it's a screen. And I joked about it at the bottom, best monitor ever made. But as you can see, the art still remains to be pretty good because Devon's an incredible artist. And if we go into the options, we got the same things we had before. And then we can go, we have one mode called Endless. And so if we click Endless mode, it'll cycle us over to this. We have a little platformer in which you are a character running around and get stuck in walls and stuff because I didn't know how to do platformers at the time. And you can jump, and there's a thing coming to get you. And there's actually lighting, but the lighting is sort of bad and not well made. So we're being chased by this big thing, which actually got us, and I probably should have not done that. But I guess it's good to see. So this is actually probably the best piece of art in the game, actually. The screen is still great. So I'm going to try again. So basically you're constantly being followed by this big tree dude. Also the sound stopped. That's a great bug to find. You're constantly being chased by this tree dude, and you have a light meter that's going down, and fear is rising, and if your fear gets to the top, you die. But light will keep you alive. And this was not what we wanted the game to be, and it's not what the game jam had the game, it didn't fit the theme, but we made it anyway. So basically, what I learned from this ended up being random generation and AI, which I had never done before. You'll see coming up that I'm about to encounter some enemies, and they have really bad AI. So here's a gun. I'm sure Devon was always pissed about this, but we basically needed to make the game interesting, so we put guns in it and gave them to the character. Not great. Yeah. But the UI ended up actually looking kind of okay. I still think this stuff up here looks really good. The lights that we pick up are randomly generated, so you can kind of get screwed over like this and just not have anything and then be in total darkness. So there's this guy. He's throwing rocks at me, and I'm going to shoot him. I'm out of light completely at this point. I don't know how much health he has or how much health or how many hits I can sustain. Okay, so there he died. He's a rock monster. There's some light for me, a couple matches. And then this is actually one of the cooler things that I enjoy. Is these ghosts flying up making a little blue light. They actually look pretty cool. And the little water channels down at the bottom. They're really, really frustrating to jump over, and this game is a bad platformer, like really badly made mechanically, so playing it and jumping over these is such a pain. But I want to see if I can find one of the only other... Oh, nope, I've died. Alright, I'll just show it in game, because I'll show it in the engine, because it's really not worth going in to find. Okay, so that game was embarrassing and bad, but I did learn a lot from it, and I still think about it every now and then. So first of all, if I want to go on in and show you the enemy, I can actually show you this dude. This dude's wild For some reason, I had to have two of them. I guess because it was animated and I didn't know how to flip sprites. But basically, he's a goopy monster. Let's set this to slow down. He's a goopy monster. He wiggles around. He'll get you. Pretty cool stuff. This art hardly ever got to be seen by anyone because it was so deep into the game. But I really genuinely liked the art style in this game. You got these rocky boys. They throw rocks. You got the mini ghosts. They fly around and stuff. And then, of course, you have the end of game screen. And so the idea for this game was that you're trapped in the child's nightmare and you're trying to not wake up, I guess. I don't know. It was really strange and not well thought out. We got the guns. Not supposed to be in the game. The player is pretty good. Hold on, I actually have concept art for this game. Okay, so right here is actually some of the concept art for the game that I was sent a long time ago on Skype by Devon. And it is spooky and creepy, and I really liked it. And this is what we had before we went into the game jam. So obviously we sort of knew what we wanted to make, and when the theme came out we were both really disappointed and just continued on anyway. So this is the tree guy that's chasing you. He's a very big spooky guy. He's got 2 frames of just walking. And then you have my really terribly made TV. Looks absolutely awful. Oh my god. So you can tell I did this art. This must have been the temporary menu before it was actually drawn, because this is incredible. Yeah, you can see why I'm not the artist here. This ended up being the actual background in the game compared to what you just saw. And then over the entire game we had this sort of CRT screen effect that was literally just like pixels. Really horrible. Made the game look like it was on a TV. That was the idea, I guess. Anyway, let's dive into the code here, see what I did. So starting off, actually, if we look at the sprites again, we'll see sort of how I did the lighting. Because if I remember correctly, there should be a... Is this just a fade out? Yeah, this is just a fade out. So if we look through the sprites, I should be able to find a light somewhere, maybe? No. How did I do the lighting? OBJ flash. What did I do? Interesting. So, it seems like I had copied some tutorial off the internet on how to do lighting, and it just uses surfaces and basically subtracts a circle from a layer or a surface. I don't know what I'm saying. And it actually ended up looking really good in the game, so that's nice. But I definitely didn't really know what was going on at the time, and probably still don't know what's going on because it was just some random thing off the internet and I've never actually looked into what it did. And the only other interesting thing in this game is So one of the other interesting things in this game is the random generation. So the way that I did random generation is not good, and I wouldn't recommend doing it. But basically, it would choose between different chunk types. And so obviously I was probably like a Minecraft fan, and I was like, oh, Minecraft has chunks. I'm going to do chunks. So what this does is you have the different terrain types, 1, 2, and 3. And then each one, instead of actually randomly generating it, it just chooses which preset chunk to throw in there. So between 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then each one of these creates all of the blocks at their specific positions. And then the way this works actually is these are just the top blocks. And any instances of obj dirt, if I can find an obj dirt here, any instances of obj dirt will first of all, look at this little optimization. If a block is 1000 pixels to the left of the player, it'll destroy itself, so that's good. Let's see. So one thing that I did with the dirt is I would only create the top block, and then they would check underneath them, and if there is nothing underneath, they'll create a new block, and then depending on the depth, they might choose stone or dirt, or actually I guess it's just random. But yeah, that's how they did that, so that the chunk generation was just generating the top layer, and so this is the height of them: 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. And then if I go to like chunk number 2, it's 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So these are just little heights, and I always had to make sure that they were within one block of each other, so that if they generated, there wouldn't be any like unmakeable jumps or anything like that. And then also they contain in the chunk generation random spawns for enemies and random spawns of light sources. So that was an interesting method of doing that, and not necessarily like completely awful, but just not as good as it could be. And then the generation just checks the distance between the start of the game and where the player is, and how far they go is what chunks it'll start to generate. So chunk number 2 will do some water stuff. What in the heck? Oh, this is actually interesting. So what was happening here is that when you put pieces of the water up against each other, they didn't animate well, because like 2 of them against each other would just look stupid. So I actually physically checked which one it was, and set the frame differently, so that if they generated next to each other, they would still look good. And so that was interesting. And I don't know what this comment is. SWWSSWSSWW. Yeah, I have no idea. Oh, stone, water. Oh, so this is what this chunk is. It's stone, water, water, stone, stone, water, stone, stone, water, water. What a weird way to do map generation. And one of the other things in this game was the AI. So if I go into the let's see, enemies, we got Rock Guy. Let's see what Rock Guy does. So when Rock Guy gets created, he's got a choice, 1 or 2, probably go left or go right. And then he has an alarm that goes off in 180 frames. And every time the alarm goes off, he's gonna go towards the player, I guess. So go being 2, I guess, means go left, and then it'll flip around after a certain amount of time. So let's just see what he does every frame. Obviously, if his health is less than 1, die. Other than that, just basic platformer stuff, and then randomly changing and choosing to throw rocks and stuff. Not really that much interesting in here. It wasn't a particularly good AI, but it did the job. And then, of course, the tree guy is literally just a thing that moves towards the player, or actually moves to the right. It just starts way left off screen and moves towards the right side. Really bizarre. I don't really remember what I was thinking when I made this game. I tried to forget this. And then obviously the small ghosts are just little dudes that fly up out of the water, and if they touch the player, they will do damage or add fear. And then when they're outside the room, they destroy themselves. So I actually was doing some good optimization techniques during this game. It's not the best. I'm sure like one bit glitch that you can already see from this is if you go all the way to the right and then start going back far enough, you'll see the dirt being destroyed and you'll fall into an endless void. But aside from that, this game, I was learning quite a lot in Game Maker, and this game just was a mistake because of our preparing with the wrong idea in mind and trying to do the jam anyway instead of thinking of a new idea on the spot.